Hi, I'm Dr. Brendan Byrne, Medical Director of Wellness Garage Lifestyle Medicine. I'd like to take a few moments today to talk to you about our 4+2 diabetes reversal strategy. But first, I'd like to talk to you about why type 2 diabetes develops. We understand this because of the work of Dr. Roy Taylor and his group in Newcastle, who over a period of 10 to 15 years developed the systematic evidence to show us why type 2 diabetes develops and also what we can do to reverse it. Taylor showed us that type 2 diabetes develops in the context of energy overload, too many calories over time. Energy we get from food, energy we store as fat. Now, fat we can store safely, but at a certain point, we no longer store it in safe places and we cross our personal fat threshold. And often we see this as we develop some belly fat. But what's happening is we're getting fat in the wrong places. And it's this fat in the muscle and this fat in the liver and this fat in the pancreas that drives a process called insulin resistance, which causes type 2 diabetes. Taylor's famous twin cycle showed this. What he showed was too many calories, energy overload, muscles not doing their job, fat spilling over, all results in increased liver fat. The increase in liver fat results in the liver not responding properly to insulin, hence the term insulin resistance. And what we see is blood sugar goes up a little bit, and the pancreas quickly responds by increasing the amount of insulin. This cycle, the liver cycle, goes over and over and over again, and we start to get to the place where we have too much insulin. If we look at it from a graph perspective, we see glucose versus insulin over time. There's our normal fasting blood sugar of 5.5 millimoles per liter. And what we have happening during this insulin resistance cycle is higher and higher and higher levels of insulin in order to maintain the same level of blood sugar. Too much insulin. Now, the problem with too much insulin is insulin not only stores blood sugar and maintains blood sugar, insulin also stores fat. And so as we get higher and higher levels of insulin, we are able to store fat, but we're no longer able to burn fat because insulin stops our ability to burn fat. So insulin could easily be thought of as miracle grow for fat. And this really sets up a metabolic vicious cycle. High levels of insulin lead to more and more fat storage. More and more fat storage leads to insulin resistance, which leads to the high levels of insulin. And you can see how this cycle goes on. And so while this is happening, while we're developing too much insulin, the liver is also exporting some of that fat. Some of that fat will end up in the pancreas, and the pancreas will become affected and no longer be able to secrete as much insulin. And this is where we start to get the phenomena of not enough insulin. And it's when we have not enough insulin that diabetes emerges. And so looked at, again, back on the graph, what happens here is as the pancreas begins to be affected, it can no longer produce more insulin. And in fact, insulin levels start to plateau. As they plateau, the blood sugar goes up a little bit. And this is what we call prediabetes. Now note, this is 10 to 15 years into this process, and we're finally giving it a diagnosis. At this point in time, insulin levels are 2 to 3 times normal. The pancreas is at about 50% function. Left to go further, blood sugars go up. We diagnose it as diabetes. And at this point, we often see an 80% reduction in pancreatic beta cell function. Not enough insulin is when we get full-blown diabetes. So how do we stop the cycle? Well, we get rid of the liver fat. If we can get rid of the liver fat, we can restore the baseline insulin requirements. If we can get rid of the pancreas, we can restore the pancreas's ability to produce insulin normally. How much fat? Well, about 400 grams of fat drives this process. And how much weight do we need to lose to get rid of that 400 grams? Probably about 15 kilograms. Or put another way, in Taylor's primary care study, 86% of people achieved remission when they lost 30 to 35 pounds. So 30 to 35 pound weight loss to get rid of that 1 pound of fat driving the process. So we've talked about why type 2 diabetes develops. What I'd like to do is teach you about what you can do. And the program that we've developed, we call the 4+2 diabetes reversal strategy. And essentially what we've done is we've linked together a number of strategies that help you reverse this underlying process of type 2 diabetes. We have you eat in such a way that it lowers your insulin requirements. Use your muscles in such a way that it creates a buffer for the energy that you're consuming. Taking steps to be sure that you're not adding fat to the liver. And finally, helping you restore your ability to burn fat and subsequently get rid of enough fat in order to reverse the process. The plus two in the program represents the unique role that cortisol plays, either through stress or lack of sleep. And so we need to take that into account. The best way to learn this, to learn the why and the what around type 2 diabetes, is to start with our free 6-week group medical visit program. It's essentially designed to give you the knowledge and support you need to take control of your diabetes. We pair that with a one-on-one lifestyle medicine assessment with our lifestyle medicine physicians, where you get your own detailed report. And this will give you all the information to get started. So take the first step, register for our free group program, and learn the why and the what around diabetes reversal. Thank you.